Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like on the stream. It does really help out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. And of course, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Trades Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that in the description below, also at the top of the chat. You can join discussions, chat with other traders, chat with myself. You can find Elevating Traders updates there as well if you're interested. So if you haven't joined already, make sure you go check it out. Link in the description to that. But guys, good morning. I hope everyone's doing well. What's up, Matt? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Himanshu, good morning. Yes, we'll take a look at Euro USD. Ahmed, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. So as always, we'll go through USD side of things first. Take a look at the DXY. Go through some USD majors, gold, silver. We'll go through some indices as well. Again, any specific pairs you're looking at or specific time frames you're looking at, let me know. Drop it down in the chat and we will discuss. But first things first, the dollar, which has seen some upside since we last spoke, but looks like it's finding some resistance a little bit in the lower time frames. I'm keeping a close eye on this one because I am waiting for some retracement for potentially to sell the dollar back down again. We had that really big bearish move a couple of weeks back or a few weeks back over here. And since then, the price has kind of run out of steam and we've kind of formed a bit of a bottom here. So I am looking at some retracement for the dollar. We have seen some upside, but I'm not very enthusiastic about the price action, how we've kind of shaped up. It's kind of like price is kind of rounded off and we've pulled back into the high of where we started to have that corrected nature. So the way we've pulled back isn't great. I would rather we've had some impulsive behavior here and slowly corrected to the upside like so, because that would be more of a characteristic which you would associate with a pullback. Something like this doesn't give me a lot of confidence to short. I do think in the short term, though, we have come back into some nice resistance. If I go to the daily chart, look to the left, there is some bearish indication here with all those wicks on the daily chart, and now we're back in that zone. So we possibly could see a bit of a downside move for the dollar. As to how far, as to if it's a continuation of that big bearish move we got a couple of weeks back, I'm not too sure on that just yet. I think from a low time frame perspective, like hourly chart, you might catch a nice sell, possibly back into areas like such. But based on how prices move for the dollar, I'm waiting for a slightly deeper correction. Again, I gave out two areas for the dollar as to where I am happy to take some shorts, or at least looking for some shorts anyway. This level here being one of them, and the second level being this one here, around 105.5. I do have a bit more confidence there, so that's kind of where I'm hoping the dollar can get to. But at the moment, it looks like we are finding some resistance at 104.5. So judging the low time frames and how things are looking, it does look like dollar is seeing some exhaustion here of that bullish momentum over the past few days. And perhaps we could be in for a bit of a move to the downside. Like I said, I'm not so keen on the continuation just yet. I could be wrong. Possibly this does give us the continuation, but I'd rather have a slightly deeper pullback given how price is kind of shaped up. When we do get these bowl-shaped patterns, there's a pretty strong chance that price does eventually break to the upside. And we do see those bigger pullbacks or potentially reversals even. So with the dollar, I do like the downside opportunity, but 105.5 or 105.6 roughly is kind of where I want to see price get to. And yeah, if we can break through that level, that's what I'll be looking at next. If price does reject that, I'll kind of just see what we do as we approach back into this range again. And potentially might even have a deeper pullback afterwards. But overall, I'm still very bearish. I'm still looking for the continuation of this move here. I just want to see a healthy pullback of that. If I whip out the fib from the high to the low, you can see we've got some nice confluence there with the 0.5, 0.618 in this zone. So that's kind of where I want to see price get to. Of course, whether we get that pullback or not is completely up to the dollar. But yeah, we are seeing some exhaustion there. Perhaps we could see a nice intraday sell for the dollar there. And of course, that would mean for Euro USD, we might see some upside. And Euro, in fairness, has come back into that daily level as well around 1.077. Hasn't quite got there on the lower time frames, but we just about wicked into it, as we can see. And we're seeing some similar price action as well. If I drop to the hourly chart, you can see a nice kind of double bottom here, and you can see how corrective price is as well. So it does look like Euro USD probably will give us a push to the upside as well. I'll probably say at least back to the upper end of that channel. So again, that could be a nice move for the day. Again, judging price action for Euro has been very, very corrective, kind of in this big bowl shape pattern as well. So it doesn't give me so much enthusiasm about a big continuation. So I'm kind of holding my horses for that just yet. But something like this, I think, looks pretty reasonable. At least back to 1.08. Perhaps we even get a break of that. But something like that looks like a reasonable trade. How many pips is that from current price? Roughly about 25, 30 pips to the upside, which is not a bad trade depending on your stop loss there. So yeah, Euro USD, I would expect a bit of a bounce. Like I said, I'm not completely sold on the bigger continuation just yet. I have to see how that does develop. But again, for Euro, this is kind of the level I'm looking to see if price can get to. So it's a similar level to the DXY. If I draw the fib from the low to the high, you can see it lines up pretty well with the 0.5, 0.618 there. So I'm looking to see pricing retest those areas, come back to those fib levels, and hopefully form a higher low there, or give me price action that I can at least get into a buy. It doesn't necessarily have to continue all the way back to the high for me to make a profit, but that's where I do think we can continue from. But yes, from an intraday perspective, it does look like price is seeing some exhaustion there, and perhaps could be getting ready for a bit of a move to the upside on the lower time frames. Pound USD, this one again looks like we're seeing a bit of upside there as well. Looks like dollar weakness is coming into the market pretty well there. Again, with Pound USD, I've been at least looking for a pullback into 1.28. That has not come into fruition at all. If I go to the daily chart, so I was at least looking for a pullback to retest the high here, preferably retest the consolidation back over here. That's kind of where I would really like to see a pullback into. So roughly 1.28, 1.27 are the areas I'm consulting. But again, with Pound USD, it looks like we're seeing a little bit of momentum right now, but I'm not really too convinced. Overall, momentum is still very, very corrective here. So maybe we see a push back to the highs again, maybe some new highs. But overall, if we stay in this corrective nature, I do think that larger pullback will happen at some point in time. And that's the pullback I'm looking for to actually trade and find a higher low from. So overall, to me, Pound USD looks really corrective still. Not really too convinced by Pound USD's price action right now. It's very, very fatigued right now. So again, possibly could see another push back to resistance there, but I would be looking for anything more than that. Overall, Pound USD still looks really, really tired. And I do think a bigger pullback is still very much on the cards, but maybe we do see a bit of push to the upside if the dollar is going to maybe see some downside as well. But again, the buys I'm after is still back into 1.28 or back into 1.27. Really nice zones there on the daily chart, where I do expect to see a bit of a bounce there. If I expand to the daily, so retest that prior high or retest of this range, which gave us a really nice break to the upside. We haven't yet came back to retest. So I do like that area for a long. If we go on to dollar CAD, so dollar CAD, I'm looking for another push to the upside before I do get back into some shorts. Overall, it does look like support on the left is still very much holding. I don't be shorting directly into that level. We've got resistance around 1.45, which is holding pretty well too. And overall, I am very much looking for some shorts for dollar CAD longer term. I was hoping to see a bit of a push to the upside first before that short. Still could be in play there because we haven't broken support yet. But again, my thinking with dollar CAD is that the market has been so stretched for so long, and we've come crashing into some big levels on the weekly chart where we could see some higher time frame sellers stepping into the market, especially buyers taking a lot of profit, so closing their buy positions. You can see massive resistance once over there, big push to the downside, second test over there, another big push to the downside, and finally a third test, which potentially could induce another move to the downside as well. So that's kind of where I get my bearish bias from. And looking at the daily chart, it looks like we are running out of steam. We had a very strong bullish move here, which didn't really amount to much. So that tells me that price is running out of steam and probably will give us a big sell. So on the 4-hour chart, I am looking for something like this, a push back into resistance again. Hopefully catch that third lower high. We've got one over there, second over there. Perhaps we catch a third, and that could be a lovely trade, at least back into support again. Doesn't have to be anything too crazy, but maybe we have the opportunity to hold on for a swing back into 1.416. So yeah, dollar CAD I'm still pretty bearish on. We're still approaching support, which we could bounce from, so I'm not quite convinced on me selling into support. To begin with, if we do crash through, then I would contemplate something like this, a retest and some sells. If I go to the daily chart, there is a big level here, which I'm looking for price to come back and retest, which is just below 1.4. So I maybe look at try and continue the trade back to that level, but we'll have to wait and see. We need the breakout first. So yeah, dollar CAD shorts, if we can get another pullback high or potentially a breakout. Aussie dollar, again, this one I'm not really too keen on, to be honest, in terms of finding opportunities. Still not really convinced with this one. If I'm looking to long, it's because prices got back to support down here around 0.612. Then I'll be a lot more comfortable with the buys there. At the moment, I'm not really convinced with the price action. We've had some trouble trying to break resistance on the daily chart at a level here on the left, which price respected pretty well. I was hoping price would actually break it last week when we had that really strong bullish candle Monday, but we never continued that momentum when you push right back down. Maybe price is going for another attempt to go and break through. Perhaps we'll have to wait and see. But overall, to me, Aussie dollar looks like a market that is just ranging, which says a lot because we've had a really big bearish move to the downside. So again, I assume price is ranging for potentially a move like this at some point. But again, in terms of actually trading that's where it becomes a little bit difficult. I either need price to push back into support so I can find some healthy entries with some healthy stop losses, or price breaks through and then I can find some pullbacks shortly afterwards. So something like this would make a lot of sense because we'll be breaking through structure at that point. And then we'll have a swing low, a swing high, swing low again, and now a higher high. And that gives me the green light to be looking for some pullbacks and some long opportunities. So that's really what I'm waiting for Aussie dollar. Again, we're still a long way away from that forming. As the USD, for me, after the fact that we climb back beneath resistance here, it's not looking too good as well. And I'm looking to see if we can get a swing back into support again, which is back into the level here, probably for some buys later on as well. I will see what we can do in terms of resistance at that level around 0.578. If we can hold resistance, I do think that would be a nice place for a short. It depends on what the dollar is doing at the time, so I'll keep an eye on that. But if USD is going to have that deeper retracement back to 105,500 roughly, then we could be seeing as the USD push back down, but we'll have to wait and see. I'll see what we can do around 0.578, but there could be some nice shorts there, especially like the weekly candle, big rejection, the weekly chart, big piercing, weight to the upside, pulls back down. Possibly this week, we might see the continuation of that. So going to see what we can do at resistance, and if things look good, hopefully some nice shorts. And then, of course, you got your lovely gold and silver. So gold, bit of bearish momentum, but didn't really do too much. And I say that because we are still respecting 3K, which is a nice little area of consolidation, which gave us that lovely break to the upside. Looks like we've had a very corrective move to the downside. So you can see it's been very choppy, but overall the market is very corrective. And I do think possibly we're getting ready for another continuation. I have talked about some deeper pullbacks for gold back into 29.50. So retest the high here, or retest the consolidation, which I think is a really nice area for a bounce. Again, we're a long way away from those two levels, so not really interested just yet. At the moment, this level looks to be holding just fine, and it looks like maybe gold is getting ready for a bit of a swing back to the highs at 30.50 And the next target after that would be 3075, but more so 3100. Just again looking at the big psychological levels to map out targets. But yeah, it does look like we're about to rally. And the fact that price had a couple of rejections here was still very slow. And this is where the momentum lies. There's a bit of a counter trend line here. If that can snap, that'd probably give us a nice rally there for gold. So even buys in the breakout make a lot of sense there. And targets back at highs, I think, make the most sense. I'm still pretty keen on silver longs, annoyingly. It's kind of just floating above my zone that I'm wanting to buy. I was looking to see if silver could roll over a little bit further yesterday. Haven't quite seen that, unfortunately, just yet. Again, not going to rule that out because it still could come into play. But I really like this level here. 32.5 was solid resistance previously. And as you can see, we kind of just missed it there, unfortunately. But we could still roll over. We haven't pushed off yet. Again, my targets for silver still a push back into 35, which is that swing high just below 35. So that's still looking like a really nice opportunity. And I'm liking how silver's moving as well. It's still very corrective. Like I said, it looks like price is really finding support here. So maybe we do rally early. But again, I'm not going to try and force anything. I'm still waiting to see if we can get that push. If we do, brilliant. I'll find some entries, or if the entries do form, of course, I'll find some entries and then, yeah, look to see if I can swing it back to the highs at around 35. And that looks like a really nice swing opportunity. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the USD pairs. Gold, silver still looking very bullish. USD looks like it might be seeing some weakness at the moment. I'm still looking to see if we can get a deeper retracement for the dollar before maybe some sales later on. Good morning, Darkshon. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. GJ getting ready for a sell, 5-minute head and shoulder ish. Okay, I'll go have a look. What's up, Lighton? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good to have you on the stream, my man. Holy One, what is up? Trying to get okay, dollar can sell all last week, then to the ATN, halfway to CP. Okay, nice. Yeah, it looks like that USD momentum is really kicking in across the dollar pairs. But I'm out my dollar cap position. Closed it last week. I need price to retrace a lot more before I find an entry. But yeah, I'm still looking to short it though. I think there's a lot of room to the downside. Pavinator, what is up? Hope you're well. It has been a long time. I'm doing good, my man. I hope you're well. Good to have you on the stream again. Still looking at Aussie dollar. Matt, what's up? Aussie CAD, I quite like from 0.905. 6 for a sell if confirmations are met. Yeah, I'm pretty bearish on Aussie CAD as well. I'll go through GJ and I'll take a look at dollar CAD and I'll go through Aussie CAD for you as well. Blessing, good morning. Hope you're doing good. Yuri Yen, we'll add that to the list too. Yusuf, what is up, my man? Hope you're well. I'm doing good. Hope you're good. CS Integrated. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. So we'll go through GJ first. So yeah, this one we had a bit of a rally to the upside for the yen pairs yesterday. Looking pretty bullish. I did end up closing my euro yen shorts. I was looking for a really big swing to the downside. Still am kind of long-term bearish on the yen pairs, but I'm kind of pausing that bias just for now because I've had a look at a lot of the yen pairs, include the yen basket as well. And it looks like we could still be seeing potentially a bit more weakness in the yen. So I'm not looking for any swing shorts just yet, and potentially looking at a bit more upside. But in terms of GJ, on the 5-minute chart, it does look like we're trading at some resistance right now at 194.5. And so far, it's doing a pretty good job at holding price. So we could potentially see a bit of reaction here. If I scale down to the 5-minute, let's see what information we're getting. If I just refine that level a bit. Okay, so you said 5-minute head and shoulder ish. Yeah, I think I see what you're talking about. Left head and then right shoulder there. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the price action on the 5-minute chart. It looks very chaotic right now. It's nice if the head and shoulders got a bit of space to maneuver in. You know, for example, in this kind of instance, I'd want to like drop to even like the 1 minute chart, to be honest, and then try and short the highs here. Because if you wait for a 5 minute candlestick entry pattern, your entry might be like down here potentially, and then you're already coming into support, so you're already into a bit of trouble. Whereas the 1 minute chart, you might be able to refine your entry right to somewhere here, reacting off the level, and at least you can probably take some profit as we come back into the low there. But yeah, maybe it's a 5 minute chart for price to have a bigger push down. I still think there is more room to the upside for the end pairs on the higher time frames, but again, depends what you're looking for. There's some support here. Potentially price may go and test. How many pips is that from that level? It's only 40 pips, not a lot. I know Darkshire, you're looking for about 70 pips. So yeah, where would you target Darkshire for the shorts? I'm not personally liking it too much. I know we're trading at resistance and we could see a reaction off that, but I'm not a big fan of how the price action is setting up here. To be honest, I'll probably stay away from the 5 minute chart. I just don't like the price action at all. I do think we can probably see something like this happen, but that's about it. As we approach some areas down here, especially this kind of range there where all that momentum came from. I zoom in, nice tightly knit range, big explosion to the upside. As we approach that area, I do think buyers will probably come back in and try and take price higher. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of the 5 minute chart, to be honest, Darkshire. I can see what you're talking about with the head and shoulders, but yeah, I'm not really feeling it, to be honest. I'm not really feeling it. And in the higher time frames, I do think there's a bit more room to the upside for pound yen, because to me, it looks like price has respected resistance here very well. So you got resistance there with all those wicks on the daily chart. Price broke through that last week and looks like we had a lovely retest of that. And of course, yesterday's candle kind of confirmed that momentum. So I do think we'll probably actually break through the highs. And I'm looking around this area here with this trend line around 196/197 for price to push into before maybe we run into a bit of trouble with pound yen and perhaps some sellers creep back into the market and we see a bit of a reaction. So I'm looking for us to climb a little bit higher first, excuse me, before we see a big sell. Of course, that's a bit more for a swing trade, not really a 5 minute chart, which I'm referencing here. But from my point of view, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Solid break and retest. I do think we can rally a little bit further. I've also had a look at the yen basket as well. That looks like it's still got some room to the downside too. So I am anticipating some yen weakness. And therefore, pound yen, I do still see pushing higher. So yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at with pound yen. In terms of dollar CAD, like I said, I'm still pretty bearish on this one, looking for a big swing. However, we are just kissing support right now. So it's a bit awkward in terms of, at least for myself, looking to short on the time frames I'm looking to short, because I don't really have a safe place for my stop loss, and then I'm straight away into support. So for me, I'm kind of waiting for either a big push to the upside, perhaps I try and catch a third lower high here. So we've got 1, 2, 3. That would be nice. I can probably refine a nice entry and a stop loss there. Hopefully capitalize on a swing back into support, book some profits there, and maybe if I'm lucky, leave some to run. If not, if we do go and break support straight away, and like I said, I'll be looking for the retest of the zone. I've got some targets just below 1.4 there for dollar CAD. If I go to the daily chart, you'll see it better. So as you can see, massive resistance going across the market. I think there's a good call for us to come back and retest that eventually. So yeah, dollar CAD I'm still pretty bearish on as well. It's just not the right time for me to be shorting. So yeah, looking for price to either pull back or go and break through. In terms of Aussie CAD, I'm pretty bearish on this one as well. It's just a very corrective pair, so I have to be very careful with this one. But I'm looking for a pretty big swing back into 0.86 into these lows here. So that's kind of my expectations. We've got some resistance here on the left, which looks like it's just about holding, although again the choppiness of the price action makes it look a little bit awkward, because it's kind of like breaking above, breaking below. But altogether, it looks like resistance is holding. As we can see here, did a very good job at resistance, very good job at support, and now flipping in resistance, and that could invite a really nice sell. So I do like Aussie CAD to the downside. I think longer term, we will see some downside coming to the market. That's the weekly chart. The daily chart is looking very corrective as well, but I wonder if we're going to put a lower high in. So what I would be looking for is something like this, a pullback, a lower high, and then make our sell. It's just very, very choppy, which is why it's not my favorite market to trade, especially now. But I definitely can see that bias there and that swing potential. If price does rally to the upside and starts breaking above this zone completely again, that's when I'll probably just chalk it and just monitor price and probably just keep neutral until something clear maps out again. But if we can start to stall around 0.904, 0.906, which is I think where you mentioned, yeah, 0.905, 0.906. If you can start to stall around here, I feel like that could be a really nice short and take price down. Probably want to give that pair a bit of room on the stop loss as well, just because it wicks around a lot. Might just do a random wick and stop you out. But yeah, I do have a pretty bearish bias for Aussie CAD as well. We'll take a look at Euro Yen next. Okay, waiting for the break before I can make my move. Okay, is that for Aussie dollar? Okay. Yeah, it's been pretty flat for a while. I'll go for Euro Yen. Dollar CAD, 4 pips from TP. Nice, only one. Dark Sean 193.7 is my target. I get confirmation for a short. Okay. What's up, Blanco? Welcome to the stream. Aussie dollar thoughts. Yes, I will go through Aussie dollar shortly. I'll just go through Euro Yen first. So yeah, Euro Yen, I did have a short position, which I did close. I wasn't really feeling the yen pair, and to be honest, it has played out because we are seeing some yen weakness in the market. I was looking a lot at the yen basket, which I'll go through shortly, but I did hop into a position with an entry here, and then I actually did close around the same price. To be honest, I didn't wait for the full hour to close. But yeah, Euro Yen, I'm still looking for a big swing because the idea is that we are still putting these lower highs in, but judging the yen basket and how things are looking, I think from a shorter horizon, I do think price is likely to push back into resistance up here again, which is 164. So I would suggest, let's say if you're on the lower time frames, there could be some nice buys here for Euro Yen. I like this range here, pretty sharp breakout. Looks like price is retesting that. Really nice double bottom back over here as well. And that to me looks like the next high low in reference to these two swing points here. And of course, if that is the next high low, then you expect us to return back into the high, which would be this point here, 164. So I would say at least the drive back into this range here on the left, 163.4 looks realistic. So something like that looks like a nice opportunity, maybe even the 30 or the 50-minute chart, if you really want to refine your entry and your stop loss there. But as I said, I do think we can make a swing back to the high there as well. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for Euro Yen on a intra-week kind of basis. In terms of the biggest swing, I'm still looking for the shorts. They're just not quite there yet. I'm looking to see what we can do, maybe as we approach resistance here on the left. Even if we approach the high here as well, I think that's a possibility too. A push back to 166 is on the cards as well. Looks like I kind of jumped the gun with my shorts last week. So we're going to see how that does map out. But yeah, from a hourly chart point of view, 30-minute chart point of view, I think there's some nice buys to be had. Looks like we cleared that resistance there as well. So I do think upside looks pretty likely there. In terms of Aussie dollar, so yeah, Aussie dollar has just been very sideways. I am pretty bullish, like in the long term, because we've had this big sell. We've come back into lows here. We've respected pretty well. So I do think price looks like it's about to kind of take a bit of a breather and see some upside. If I whip out a fib from the high here to the low, I like price coming back into the 50. 50 kind of represents equilibrium. So I feel like price could be attracted towards the 50 area. That's not necessarily I'm expecting price to sell off from them. Just saying price has probably a good chance of coming back to test the 50. But we do have some resistance to contend with at the moment, which is this big level here at 0.64. So the plan I had last week for Aussie dollar was I was looking for price to go and break the high. We had a lot of momentum at the start of the week. I was looking for price to go and break the high and then hopefully find some pullbacks too long and then take the continuation. Of course, we did not get that. Price respect the resistance and then had a bit of a drop. So altogether, it's just it will just come back within the range, really. So not trying to do anything at these prices here with Aussie dollar, at least from a swing bias. Because again, the whole point of swing trading is that you're trying to call the swing lows and swing highs of the market. When the market is kind of just fluctuating up and down, it's difficult to pick the lows and pick the tops. So we're kind of waiting for price to make that move first and then hopefully find some pullbacks afterwards. Or if we push back into support, I know there's a good chance we can bounce. So I can probably base a nice trade there. So those are the two opportunities I'm looking at for Aussie dollar. Intraday, intra-week just looks very, very ugly right now. So I wouldn't try and force anything. At least when we get the break of structure to the upside, the buyers will become a lot clearer, or at least approach support. Naturally, the buyers will be a lot clearer there as well. Of course, still waiting for confirmation and rejection there as well. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Aussie dollar. I appreciate that, Ahmed. If you guys are enjoying the stream, please be sure to hit the like button. It does really help out. I do really appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel as well if you're enjoying the content. And feel free to hit the bell too so you don't miss out on anything in the future. But yeah, I do really appreciate everyone who has liked the stream so far. Holy one looking forward. Pound NZ buys. Okay, we'll have a look. See. Lauda, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Yusuf, please, when you have a high time frame bias, example, 1 day daily chart is bearish and your analysis time frame is bullish. Do that always means that the 4 hour is counter trend until it starts showing some bearish moves? Well, in respect to the daily chart, the 4 hour would be counter trend. But then again, the funny thing is weekly could be bearish as well. So effectively, the daily chart could be counter trend and the 4 hour could be pro. Again, my thinking with multi-time frame analysis is that the higher time frame always has the clearer picture and it's closer to the true trend of the market. So technically speaking, the monthly chart will give you the most clarity, or like a yearly chart if you want to look at the yearly chart, but I don't think most people would do that, at least if you're actively trading. So the highest time frame will give you the most clarity in terms of the overall trend of what that pair is actually doing. So if you have a daily chart which is bearish, daily chart which is bearish and 4 hour which is bullish, yeah, the 4 hour would be counter trend to the daily. But if you look beyond the daily chart and the overall trend of the weekly and the monthly is still pointing down, then perhaps the daily is counter trend. So it can get a little bit twisted if you're not careful. But the main thing to take note of is that the higher the time frame, the truer the trend. Yeah. So if the lower time frame is against the higher time frame, you normally would associate the low time frame as counter trend. Okay, let's take a look at pound NZD. I'll go through the yen basket as well. Then I'll probably just go through a bunch of yen pairs as well. So yeah, pound NZD said you're looking for a buy. Hollywood, yeah, looking for a buy. So yeah, pound NZD overall is still looking pretty bullish. I'm looking to see if price can return back to the highs there, which is 2.27. I did mention some buys if we could pull back and retest the high here on the left, which is around 2.24. Didn't quite see that happen yesterday. I also mentioned these areas here too. I really like these areas because we had a pretty big consolidation. And of course, price broke to the upside with a lot of momentum. And we never really came back for a retest. So if price can get there, I think there's a good chance we do bounce. But yeah, those are the areas I'm looking at from a swing point of view. At the moment, it looks like we're kind of stuck in some resistance. Perhaps we might see a bit of retracement. but I would expect price to eventually break to the upside. But yeah, it looks like we're having a bit of trouble here. Maybe if you could see price do something like this, break the highs, and the pullbacks afterwards will make a load of sense. But yeah, overall, the market is still pretty bullish. Looking at the higher time frames, still very, very consistent with all the higher lows. So in my book, I wouldn't be surprised if we do return back into resistance. I noticed you got into Euro Yen last week. Weekly is buy, daily is sell. This means it's a pullback for a strong buy. Once indicators align, I'll be in buy. Okay. Yeah, Euro Yen doesn't look quite ready for the short, so I have called it early on that position. We'll see how that does develop. But from my analysis, it looks like yen still has a bit of weakness left in the tank there, so I'm kind of staying put for now. Good morning, Godfrey. Welcome to the stream. How am I doing? I'm doing well. Yeah, my health is good as well. Thank you for asking. Hope everything's good with you too. USD JPY, yes, I'm about to go through the yen pairs actually. So I would definitely go through dollar yen as well. First, I'm just going to take a look at the yen basket quickly. So I was keeping a close eye on the yen basket. It's actually a pretty good indication for yen weakness and yen strength. I didn't really look at it much in the past, but the past kind of 12 months, I'll start looking at it a lot more. So yeah, with the yen basket, we kind of respected the high here pretty well. And as we can see, prior resistance from a few weeks back, we did break through this, but we never really continued. Price was finding resistance just above us. We had a pretty aggressive double top there ish, or triple top, depends how you look at it, but resistance was holding around 7K. We tried to break through a few times, failed. We ended up breaking underneath, retested the resistance well, and we had a bit of a drop there. So the way I'm seeing it right now is that price has respected some areas of supply here on the left. I do think price can retrace a little bit further before maybe we do go and take on that potential higher low. I still do think price can make its way back into resistance, back at the highs here. That's still my longer term bias for the yen basket, which is why I'm looking for yen strength overall. However, this is definitely a bearish signal. Prices broken out of that area of support, came back to retest it. We had a really bearish candle yesterday in that reaction, which is why I closed my trade early yesterday, because I could see price was holding this resistance and we did get a continuation. So I'm looking for a bit more downside. I'm looking at areas around here-ish. So what is that? 65, around 65.50 as an area where we might start to slow down. Again, it's quite corrective, but generally speaking, around the 0.5, 0.618 is where I'm looking for that bounce. So around this kind of area here is where I'm looking for price to potentially slow down and possibly turn around. So I'm looking for a bit more downside for the yen basket, and kind of coincides with what I'm looking at for quite a few of the yen pairs. So if I go over to dollar yen, so dollar yen pretty bullish yesterday as well. Again, for this one, I did say I'm looking for a bit more retracement before I sell. I said 160, 151, 152 is kind of the zone I'm looking at, which is more or less around there. Pretty much coming to the cusp of that. I'm looking to see if we can come a little bit deeper. Again, there's a lot of confluence there. If we look to the left, there's a pretty big level of resistance over here, which rejected price very, very well not too long ago. So if I can map that out and drag that across, you can see price is kind of pulling into those areas right now. We've got the 200 moving average just above us. We've got the 50 just above us as well. Altogether, looking at how price did develop, we kind of had a really corrective, eventually had a really corrective kind of continuation here, and price kind of rounded off a little bit, almost looking like an inverse head and shoulder pattern. So there's your left head, right shoulder. So I do think with dollar yen, there is a bit more upside to be had. I am still looking for a big sell, but I don't think it's quite ready yet. It looks like we're rejecting that that level pretty well, but I think that's USD weakness coming into play. Yeah, I'm not quite convinced with the shorts just yet. We've just broken through a pretty long-standing trend line as well, which is another bullish indication too. So yeah, I don't think the shorts are quite here just yet with dollar yen. I think there's still a bit more upside to be had. I'm looking in that zone, but again, it really depends how price gets, then how we react and how we form. I'm not just waiting for price to get there and just give me a little reaction to take the short, especially with how prices move. So yeah, 151, 152, maybe even 152.5 is kind of the area I'm looking for a sell. And that hopefully could take us back into the low. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's quite ready yet. So yeah, dollar yen still pretty bearish, but I'm not quite convinced just yet. A lot of the yen pairs are kind of in some areas where I'm starting to look to sell again. But we'll have to wait and see. I'll go through the rest of the yen pairs. Okay, you're ready in a buy. It's consolidation at the minute. Okay, yeah, it is moving a bit sideways. But if it does break, then you're probably looking at good. Where's your targets for that one, Holy One? Ahmed, what is up? Pound USD, I'm looking for strong bearish soon. But what? When? But when do I? When I do not know. Okay, sorry, my bad. I was just having a bit of brain fog there reading. So yeah, I am looking for a bit of retracement as well for pound USD. I'm looking for price to get to at least to 1.28 before I do contemplate any long positions. I do think overall the market's had a pretty nice reversal, clean bearish trend. Since we have gone and broken structure, we've taken out this swing high here, and we've broken to the upside pretty well. What happened there? I just hit the mic and it can completely just switched charts, almost like a magic trick. Anyway, back to pound USD. So yeah, we've had a big break to the upside. We've broken through structure, which is the swing high here on the left. And now I'm looking for the correction of that for a continuation. I've mapped out two areas which I like. Of course, the retest of that high there, which is more or less 1.28. And I also like that that range here, because this range here kind of gave us a lot of momentum and we haven't come back to retest it yet either. So I think this is a really nice place for a buy if we can revisit that. Overall, looking at the price action here, things still look very, very fatigued, very tired. If I drop to the 4 hour, I can see that a bit better. Overall, we're seeing corrective behavior, not really seeing much momentum, kind of rounding off slowly as well. So I do think pound USD's get ready for a bigger pullback. Like you said, you're looking for a bearish move, but you just don't know when. I agree with that because it looks like some bullish momentum stepping into the market this morning. Perhaps we see another push to the higher. But even if we do that, even if we see a new higher high with pound USD, kind of expecting us to eventually get that pullback. The market overall, unless we see some crazy momentum from somewhere similar to this, then I'll stand corrected. But at the moment, not really seeing any sign of that happening. So I do think pound is getting ready for a move down. But like you said, when? I do not know either. We'll have to wait and see. At the moment, it looks like dollar seeing a bit of weakness as it reacts to that high. I'm not quite convinced that we are going to have a massive sell just yet. I think we're probably going to come back into support here and probably push back up. Okay, so I'll go for the rest of the yen pairs. Lauder, Swiss yen, sold at 170.538. Looked more convincing for me. And the other JPY pairs, okay, I'll have a look at that one as well. 265. Okay, that's full pound NSD. Okay, I'll have a look. Dollar's really dropping right now. It is dropping like it's hot. Is Euro USD going to hit that channel? Almost. Almost. Okay, so let me go take a look at CHF JPY. So Swiss yen, I'm liking the sells as well. I'm liking the sells as well. I do think there's a lot of downside to be had for Swiss yen, but I'm looking for price to come a little bit higher. Maybe I'm being too picky, and maybe I missed the move. In fairness, I'm looking at all the yen pairs. So if I miss Swiss yen, hopefully I will catch another one. But for Swiss yen, because I was looking a lot at this one last night and this morning as well, I'm looking around this area here. Um, Not very overly significant level, but it's an area which I'm looking for price to get to because I do have some nice confidence at. And I'm also factoring the highs here as well. Looking to see potentially if we go tag that trend line, but we're still quite a way away from that. But yeah, I'm looking for price to push a little bit higher, back into 171.5. Price had a really nice breakout of that consolidation, had a nice retest and a strong bullish close from that. So I do think there's still a bit more upside to be had for Swiss yen. Don't get me wrong, I'm looking for massive sales. I do think price is going to break through the lows here pretty soon. I'm looking at this as like a big head and shoulder pattern. And I do think we're actually going to have a pretty big bleed in the next few months for Swiss yen. But in terms of where I want to sell it from, I would like to see a bit more upside. It is coming back into a nice high. Of course, we're retesting that level from last week, and we very much could respect that, but I'm not looking for anything crazy. I feel like as we approach some areas around here, we might see some buying pressure step back in. So I'd watch out for that. I'm just not convinced that we've had enough of a pullback for us to continue that sell, especially when we had such a big move. Now price is kind of just corrected, maybe just about tapped the 50. I'll probably wait and see if we can get into the 0.618 area, which is more so up there. We have just about tapped the 50, so it's a decent area, but I'm just not expecting much from the Swiss yen yet. I'm looking at the yen basket. I think the yen basket's still got a bit more weakness for the yen as well. I suppose it depends how weak Swiss is going to be. But yeah, I think there's a bit more upside to be had. But if you're looking for something like this, I think that looks pretty realistic. I think that's good. Of course, I could be wrong as well. I'm not a fortune teller. Price could dump. Again, I'm just giving my honest opinion. I do think there's a bit more retracement to be had longer term. But it's a nice level of resistance, and I do think it can give us at least a reaction off that area. 26565. Keep hitting the mic today. Apologies. Okay, your target is what? 26565. 26565. Okay, it's around here somewhere. Okay, I thought you'd be targeting the highs there, Holy One. To 2.27426 around there. Matt, I think silver could be seatbelt time. It might be, it actually might be. And it's just missed my level. Oh, it's just missed my level, but it could be seatbelt time. It could be seatbelt time. Yeah, it could be. There's still a lot of momentum in the market right now. This was the level I was looking for price to test, but it is showing a lot of bullish momentum. It's actually found support pretty well here in the 4-hour chart. Respecting this level here pretty well. It could be seatbelt time. Let me have a look at gold as well. Yeah, if gold can break that counter trend line, I think gold will probably rally too. And if gold's rallying, it's probably a good chance silver's going to rally too as well. Lighten, I see descending wedge on NZUSD breaking upside for the DXY retracement. Okay, we'll have a look at that. Ivan, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. New Zealand thoughts. I've just placed a long position with the entry 86, 185. Okay, we'll go through that. No problem, all that. Happy to help. Okay, so NZUSD. Let's take a look. So you said see a descending wedge and then NZUSD breaking for that DXY retracement. Okay, so you're talking about this wedge here, I suppose. If not, let me know. But yeah, we are breaking to the upside. Looks like we are seeing a lot of USD weakness at the moment, and that is definitely infiltrating to all the USD pairs right now. Like I said, I'm not really convinced with the upside just yet. I'm still looking for a bit more strength for the dollar for retracement. And I do think NZUSD can see some downside. I like this pair because it's also testing some really nice resistance on the left. We had a really nice candle close on the weekly chart as well. If I move this out the way, really nice wick to the upside as we pierce through, but we pull back just before the weekly candle close. So I like the fact that we're holding resistance. And if price can maintain that this week, I do think we can roll over. If, of course, we do end up breaking to the upside like such, I'll scrap that bearish bias and maybe we are going to push to the upside. But I do think we can at least retrace for NZUSD and start approaching some support levels, even around here as well, 0.56. But yeah, we are definitely looking very, very bullish this morning. We are pushing to the upside pretty strong. I'm going to see what we can do around the 0.578 areas. If we start to reject that, kind of looking at another lower high forming, something like this, and then maybe a sell. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with NZUSD. Yeah, we are definitely pushing very strong right now with the USD weakness. Okay, so I'll go through New Zealand yen next. Yusuf, please don't mind asking what you personally look at to say that is counter trend. Well, it's against the overall trend. I focus a lot on market structure and momentum, and I use that to identify a trend, so a direction, whether up or down, or of course sideways is another direction as well. The market is ranging, but if it's an uptrend, then anything going against that uptrend is deemed to be counter trend, and of course, vice versa with the sell. So anything that is not in the direction of the momentum or the structure of the market is deemed counter trend for me. Okay, so New Zealand yen, you said you got into a long, Ivan. So just place the long position entry 86.185. Excuse me. 86.185. So that's roughly around here. Stop loss 85.945. Okay, beneath the low there. And targets 87.3, which is the high. Okay, risk reward is looking pretty appetizing there. I like the trade, to be honest. I do think there's a bit more upside for New Zealand yen. I suppose you're looking for a bit of a retest of the high there, which so far looks to be playing ball pretty nicely. But drop to the hourly chart. I like the way the candlesticks have formed here as well. Solid resistance, and price had a pretty nice bounce on that. Pretty nice candle close there on the hourly chart. I also like this bearish candle here because this was a bit of a sell, which might have kind of trapped some trades on the lower time frames, and suddenly big push to the upside. So I would say when you are focusing on the lower time frames, you don't want to get too carried away with higher time frame targets because price has to work very, very hard to get all the way back here, especially when you have a really refined entry and stop loss, because you're not really giving yourself a lot to maneuver with. So I would say targets back at 86.35 look good, and I would suggest looking at maybe trading a stop loss a little bit or booking some profits, something to manage the position, because if you just kind of let the trade do its thing between here and there, It could very much hit your target, and that would probably be like a 1 to 6 or something like that. So a great risk to reward in that position. But probability would be against you in terms of price. Very much could, do something like that and still hit your targets, still meet your expectation, but it might trigger your stop loss on the way there just because it's very refined. So I would suggest, like I said, trading a stop or partialing out or something to manage the trade along the way, just because your target is very, very far from your entry, and a lot can happen in that time. But yeah, I think in terms of what I'm looking at for New Zealand yen, it lines up pretty well. I'm looking at the daily chart. The market's been pretty tired. I do think New Zealand yen is due a bigger pullback in uh, on the higher time frames as well. I'm looking at price at least getting back to the 50 of this fib, which is just below 88. So I do still see us pushing, into your target and further as well. I like the way price is kind of situated on the daily time frame in this area. Nice double bottom down there. We kind of broke to the upside there as well. Looks like we're having a retest of that zone. So price has another reason to potentially see some upside there too. So yeah, New Zealand yen, I like the buys. If the yen basket is still going to fall for maybe a couple of days or so, that could give NZD JPY the kick it needs to keep pushing up. I still think price is like to take out the wick low here. But judging the yen, New Zealand yen right now, I do think we'll probably see a bigger pullback, something like this, and then maybe get the sell later on. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I like the trade. I like the trade. I'll just watch out on the lower time frames because a lot can happen. Lighton, yeah, I'm expecting it as a pullback before sales continue. That is okay on NZUSD. Let's see what happens next. Yep. Lauder, ready to buy NZD. Okay, nice from yesterday. Okay, before the momentum kicked in. But we shall see. Okay, do you have targets for that trade order? Or are you just gonna let price do its thing? See how far you can take it. I will go through the rest of the yen pairs because I haven't gone through them yet, and I was meant to take a look at the indices as well, but got a bit sidetracked, so I'll take a look at them too. But the rest of the yen pair, so New Zealand yen looking at some upside, Aussie yen, which of course is a closely related pair with New Zealand yen. I would expect to see upside with this one too. Again, I'm looking at the higher time frames. Again, it's not like the yen pairs have ripped to the downside. I've been very bearish on them for a while, but they haven't really ripped. They've been very corrective on the way down. So typically with corrective price action like this, we could see some pretty meaty pullbacks. Yeah, and that could last maybe for a few days as well. Again, with every candlestick, you get new information. At the moment, I'm favoring some upside here for Aussie yen, but things can change very quickly, and I might be talking about some shorts very soon later. A big part of trading is just staying reactive. You get information with every candle, with every day, with every week. And you might have one expectation, new information comes into play. You might get rid of that expectation and change things completely. At the moment, I'm still longer term bearish with the yen pairs, but at the moment, I can see a bit of a bottom forming for quite a few of them. And does look like we could probably see a bit of a push maybe for the next 2 or 3 days, maybe even longer as well. So yeah, with Aussie yen as well, this looks like it's pulled back into this area of demand here, brief consolidation, nice push to the upside, come back to retest it. Yesterday's candle, very strong close. We already broken structure to the upside over here on the left with that new high. And now I'm expecting price to now see some follow through to the upside. If I whip out the 50% of the fib from the high to the low here, then I'm kind of looking at us coming back into that 0.5, 0.618. That's always a healthy area for us to correct into. And I feel like that's probably where Aussie yen could push in towards before maybe we start to talk about some sells again, but we'll have to wait and see. But for now, strong close, nice momentum there. To me, it looks like we've had a drive there. This is our kind of correction, expecting another drive to the upside, at least back into resistance here. which is 95.2, but I do feel like we probably will break through that, to be honest. I like the double bottom here as well. Test it once, test it twice, and we broke to the upside. So we're likely to approach resistance there. CAD yen, similar characteristics as well. Of course, another yen pair doing something similar. I think CAD was a little bit strong as well yesterday too. So that one had a bit more of a kick. But again, with CAD, I'm drawing the fib from the high here to the low. I'm looking at this 0.5, 0.618 zone, which lines up pretty well with the low there too. So that's kind of where I do see price pushing into for CAD yen. So I'm still looking at a little bit more upside before I do start to say that, okay, we're back in bearish territory. I wouldn't be surprised if you have a deeper pullback than that, potentially 0.786. Kind of looking at these prior pullbacks as well. Got the trend line there as well. I wouldn't be surprised if you pull all the way back into that kind of territory, which would mean quite a few more days of upside there for CAD yen. I'm just not quite ready yet to start selling. I feel like with this kind of reversal price action, I don't see us having a continuation just yet to the downside, especially with CAD yen, because CAD yen is actually taking out this low here, which is a very, very significant low. We had a massive drop last year, July, August, huge drop there. And prices had a big move, and we swept those lows already. So a lot of liquidity would have been taken. So I feel like CAD yen's got that extra potential to push up and probably kind of catch up the 200 moving average there as well. And if I drop to the lower time frames, you can see that we've broken structure on the left here. So we've taken up the highs, and our price is starting to create some higher highs and higher lows. So I think for CAD yen as well, perhaps even a pullback into these areas could present a nice buy, which could take you to the upside. So that could be something to look at, some counter trend plays there as well. So that's kind of what I'm looking for CAD yen. Did I go through pound yen? I feel like I did. Yeah, pound yen looking at bounce as well, and then some sells. So the yen pairs are at some resistance right now, and they might start to struggle because, again, JPY basket, we are at support. We are at support at the moment as well. So we might start to find some trouble, but I do feel like we can keep falling. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Lord expecting dollar weakness to continue, so I'm just going to allow the trade to do its thing. Okay, nice. Yeah, I'm very much on the same page as well. I was kind of hoping for a bigger correction, but I'm not too sure if I'll get what I'm looking for. Maybe I missed the jump there. No problem, Ivan. Happy to help. DXY on a horizontal support on the hourly time frame. Can it make a further descent before shooting up? If so, what possible levels it can reverse? And probably if you look at the hourly 30-minute time frame, okay. We'll have a look, see. And then I'll go through the indices after. So yeah, with the DXY, we definitely tagged the resistance, which is 104.5, one of the levels I've been talking about, 104.5 and 105.5, those two levels here. So we've tapped the first level, and price has, of course, seen a bit of a rejection. Very strong close there on the 4-hour candle. Move this out of the way. So we formed a nice double bottom here. Price shot to the upside. Well, I say shot. It was a very corrected move. Didn't really see much momentum, but we pushed the upside. The only thing I'm not quite convinced about with the DXY is the way price has kind of had this kind of bottom and this rounded shape. Typically, I would say a good percentage of the time, it does normally mean more upside for the dollar, for the pattern. And the price normally does tend to break to the upside, because typically price moves in the path of least resistance, and there's a lot of resistance for price to push down. It has to contend with all of these lows, and of course break that massive support level for us to see a continuation, which could happen with the right news events, and dollar could easily break through that. But a lot less effort for us to actually push to the upside. So I would expect us to break higher, hence why I'm looking at a deeper correction, and hence why I'm looking at 105.5 to see if we can get there. I've got some nice confidence there. I've whipped up the fib. 0.5, 0.618 is sitting roughly in those areas. So it would be nice to see a pullback there. Of course, just because we are seeing this rounded shape doesn't mean it has to get there. It's a pattern, and patterns do fail sometimes as well. So we could still very much get the continuations, but it's just not a trade which I'm going to participate in just yet. So yeah, I'm looking at a bit more upside for the dollar for a pullback. It's a very strong close down on the 4-hour chart. Hourly chart saw a lot of momentum as well, but I'm not convinced just yet. In terms of where we could find support, I'm looking around this area here on the hourly chart, 103.9. Kind of anywhere in this area here, to be honest, because this is kind of where we consolidated a little bit, shot to the upside. So I'm kind of looking at this area for us to find support and possibly push back up again, which is 103.9, 103.8. So yeah, I do think we might continue to fall, because the way I'm looking at the dollar right now as well is that we've had a really strong move up. Price is consolidated, double top there. Now we broke down. So this is a very kind of bearish pattern on the lower time frame. So you might be seeing something like this, maybe a slight correction, and probably another drop this afternoon, maybe, or even the next candle could still continue to drop. So I would expect more downside for the dollar over the next maybe 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. But as we approach support here, I would expect some buyers to step back in and possibly take price higher. But of course, we'll see how price gets there, how we react. And perhaps maybe this time tomorrow, I'll shed a bit more light on that, what I'm thinking. But at the moment, yeah, really strong drop. I do think we'll probably see some more weakness in the next few hours. There's a lot of momentum in the market, and this is a very reversal type pattern. Impulse, consolidation, impulse normally does, oh, that is horrendous. Normally that does mean more downside is on the cards. But yeah, as we approach this area, we might be finding support around there. So we'll have to wait and see. Also kind of lines up with that high there. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at for the dollar. Still very bearish longer term. We had a massive drop there. It would be nice to kind of correct into those levels and then continue and possibly start talking about some areas down there. But if the dollar does make a move like that, there might be some nice sells and then the USD, which is kind of what I was referring to. Something like that on the way down, then maybe we find support again, maybe we double bottom and push back up, but we'll make that judge close to the time. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for the dollar. Definitely a lot of weakness right now. I do think it's probably going to last for a few more hours at least. At least till we get some of those prices, and we can see what price does next. And in terms of some of the indices, I feel like we've been a bit bullish, haven't we? Yeah, S&P is pushing up, coming back into that 200 area. So this is very pivotal now for the S&P, because the 200, as I've said many times, is a very significant indicator for the S&P, especially. The daily especially is a very important indicator, because a lot of people reference that, whether the market is bullish or bearish, or we're trading below, it's bearish, or trading above, it's bullish. And it's a big confluence for the S&P. And if you look, it does hold up pretty well. You look how price kind of respected the 200 there. We did break through. We had a pretty big sell-off, respect to resistance, another big sell-off. Then we're back at support, and it held pretty well. So the 200 does fit the price action of S&P pretty well. And of course, at the moment, we have broken below. So the key thing I'm looking for is, are we going to hold the 200 as resistance? And if we do, then my expectation would be a swing back into the low here, and probably some lower prices as well. So it's a very pivotal point now, because if price doesn't do that, and let's say we have another strong daily candle breaking above like so, then that kind of puts me back in the bullish camp, especially if you can find support and start rejecting that. Then yeah, I'll be looking to see if S&P can push back to the highs from that. because that would just be a bit of a fake out, which happens from time to time as well, like over here as well. Kind of this big sell there too, but a slight dip there as well. So if it does climb back above the 200 and of course above this resistance level as well, that would make me pretty bullish on the S&P. But at the moment, we're still testing resistance, so we'll see what we can do this afternoon. Yeah, drop to the 4-hour chart. We'll see what we can do in this area. If things look bearish, yeah, perhaps we could see a nice sell. So I'll keep an eye on that. If I go to NAS, I think we're in a similar situation as well. Not quite. Still got the levels still just above us there, and the 200 is still above us as well. But again, they're lining up pretty well. So if we can see what price does, if we see a decent rejection, that would be a nice sell setup. And then you got a swing low there to target. If, of course, we break to the upside impulsively above both the 200 and the level, then that will set up some nice buys following later on. So we can probably see price go both ways. Like I say, trading is all about reacting. If price gives us some solid rejection there, then yeah, we're seeing a big sell opportunity there as well. Matt's see more pain for the indices. Not seeing the volume to match the effort. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty corrective move as well. It's not like we've shot up to the upside very aggressively. We've, of course, had this big sell, and it's not like prices quickly recovered it. Kind of taking our time as well. So that's a bit of a red flag too. But yeah, if we do find resistance at those areas, 2600 for the NAS, what is that? 5800 for S&P, anywhere around that, then I do think we'll probably have some big sells for them. US 30 is a bit more awkward. I'm not as big of a fan of US 30's price action right now compared with the S&P and the NAS. They look pretty straightforward. US 30 kind of breaking above the 200 and breaking above this area here as well. So if anything's actually leaving behind some bullish territory below us. I have talked about a retest of the range here for a short, but it just doesn't look as good as S&P or NAS, to be honest. But of course, US 30 is going to follow what NAS and S&P do, 90% of the time. But this is actually not a bad buy, a bit of a correction. If find another higher low, I think that'll be a nice little buy on a kind of an intraday perspective. And then perhaps we see the sells kick back in later. So, yeah, indices to me, not looking too hot right now. I think we'll probably get a bit more upside, but it's probably going to be a slow corrective retracement. And if price does reject those levels, which I just mentioned, then I think there's some shorts to actually to look at if you do trade indices. If I have a quick look at the DAX, DAX is still pretty corrective. It's still overly bullish. It's still pushing to the upside. Looks like it's probably going to push back into resistance again. Again, looking at this pair, it's just still very corrective. It's a market that's pretty tired. It's been trending very well for a while, but I do think a correction is due. And judging how we're moving, I think it's going to happen sooner than we'll probably expect. We might see one more push to the upside, and then that could be what gives us a bigger sell. But of course, I would wait for the sell to happen first before looking to take any trades. Especially if you're looking for the more conservative opportunity. Kind of want to wait for price to make the move first, then look for any pullbacks and opportunities to follow that momentum. You can try and anticipate some highs around here, trying to call the top on the DAX. It's always going to be a bit more of a difficult trade, but if it does play out, your risk will be a little bit better for it. But yeah, I'll be looking at something like this. Nice breakout of the channel, and that would be a nice catalyst to start looking to sell. But yeah, the DAX is still bullish. I wouldn't be shorting it yet. Looks like another high low is about to form as well. So we might have another bit of a rally. I am looking at a big sell coming shortly. What did the UK 100 do? Okay, so this looks like it's about to push back into resistance. So again, for this one, I'm looking at a bit of a sell as well. See what we can do at that level around 87.20. If not, then I'll look at the high up there. But yeah, UK 100 broke structure pretty well. I do think downside is still looking pretty good there with the FTSE. So overall, I would say I'm pretty bearish on the indices. Yeah, I'm pretty bearish on the indices, but S&P and Nas look the clearest. Looking to sell Nas or S&P, okay, around 50% of the daily structure if I get confirmations. Don't usually like selling, but I don't see a bottom here. Yeah, yeah, a lot. I know a few people who just kind of just don't sell indices because typically you would have a pretty hard time selling indices, especially if you're a bit more of a swing trader as well. You might kind of just avoid selling because you know that eventually a bottom's going to form, and that's kind of where the bigger move is to be had. And sometimes the easier trade as well. It's obviously going to be a bit more difficult to sell the indices in general. They tend to move up all the time. So yeah, I get that. There's opportunities to be made in both directions. That's always my kind of thinking in the market because there's always opportunity when people are caught overly bullish or overly bearish. There's always opportunities on the other side of that. But yeah, with the indices, sometimes it's best just to kind of, unless it's a really good opportunity, just wait for the buy. Just wait for the buy setup because it will come around and it will make your life a lot easier too. In Forex, however, yeah, it's survival of the fittest. There's markets, a lot of markets are just kind of just sideways, really, or very slight uptrend or very slight bearish trend. So you want to be able to go both ways. But anyway, so in terms of positions I'm in, I'm currently still in Aussie CHF. Okay, take care, Lauda. Hope to see you tomorrow. Happy trading as well. Take care. So yeah, I'm currently just holding Aussie CHF. At the moment, I'm looking to see what I can do in terms of the USD markets as well. Potentially sell into the USD if the opportunity does set up right, but I have to keep an eye on the DXY. Aussie CHF's going to see what this one does, to be honest. Again, the target is back to this wick low here. As long as we can stay below this resistance level, I do feel like we're likely to see that move. If we suddenly see price break above, yeah, that's when it gets a bit awkward for me. My stop loss is trailed to above the highs here. So worst case scenario, my remaining positions will just be stopped out there. But yeah, I would like to see if price can sell off a little bit further. It does look like we are breaking to the upside here though. So that could mean another push back into resistance. We will see. But besides from that, again, I've kept a close eye on silver. It looks like that one could be turning around, to be honest. It hasn't quite hit my level. I never really want to try and force a trade, but if I were to take silver, it would be kind of like it would kind of be like forcing it because it hasn't kind of hit the area which I wanted it to hit. But again, the market isn't always perfect. Sometimes it will come very close to your level or wherever you want to buy or sell from, and rip away from that. And looks like it might be happening to me here with silver. Unfortunately, how's gold looking? Yeah, if gold does clear that counter trend line, I feel like it's gonna explode as well, especially with this bearish candle, and then price kind of reverses on that. It might push pretty hard. Only one you're taking a trade in NC yet? No, I haven't. Got a trade yet. Again, the time I joined the indices probably wasn't the best time, to be honest, because US 30 was in that kind of grinding phase and didn't really get much of an opportunity to long it. And now I'm not really a big fan of the pair, to be honest. Right now, in fairness, S&P and Nas look a little bit clearer, but yeah, I'm taking a position on US 30 yet on the live on my live account. Yeah, I haven't taken a trade. I mean, I've only just added it since Jan, so it's been 3 months, almost 3 months. But then there are FX pairs which I haven't traded this year yet either. I can go easily 6 months without taking a trade on a particular market. It just depends whichever market is looking the best at the time. And at the moment, a lot of my focus has been on the yen and CHF pairs and USD pairs at the moment. But yeah, haven't taken a position on US 30 yet. And I don't see a good opportunity yet either. I mean, I can see some half-hearted ones, but nothing that looks good, especially when I can see better opportunities elsewhere in the market. Matt, dollar CAD looking bearish today. Think entry is near. Is it breaking through support yet? Okay, it is looking pretty bearish there. Yeah, that candle is looking very bearish. So yeah, with dollar CAD, if we can clear 1.43, well, I need probably to clear 1.416 as well before I do see a pullback. And it depends if it's if the breakout is clean enough, I may look to anticipate a retest before that. But yeah, if dollar CAD can clear support there, then we could be seeing a really big sell, because I am looking at this as a bit of a top for dollar CAD. Of course, with approaching the level of resistance it did, massive resistance once, twice, and a third time there as well. So I do expect dollar CAD to push down, and I've got longer term target just below 1.4. So if we don't get this move here, then it'll be something like this that I'm looking for. But yeah, looking very, very bearish today, but it's got to break through support for me to get excited. It's got to break support first. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. I feel like it's CAD a bit strong today as well, because I know USD is weak, but is it that weak? Okay, yeah, it is pretty weak, but I feel like CAD's a bit strong. Let me have a look at some other CAD pairs. So Aussie CAD, what we doing? That's pushing up a little bit. New Zealand CAD pushing up too. Euro CAD not really there. Pound CAD. I feel like it's USD then. I feel like CAD might be a little bit strong, but USD is doing the heavy lifting there. As we said before, it's diversifying. Yeah, very true. Yeah, exactly. Diversifying is given the opportunity, because at some point in time, US 30 will give me a really good opportunity instead of me taking like a half opportunity on like Euro USD, for example. US 30 will look really good at that particular time, and then instead of wasting a bullet in the chamber on Euro USD, I can just spend it on US 30, which looks really good at that time. So whenever US 30 is looking good, I'll be there to take a position. And again, I do look at a lot of markets. I think the number's like 33 now. And I'm looking to add to that. Hopefully the other US indices, hopefully by the end of the year. So S&P, NAS, and look to add platinum and copper as well, and oil, and probably even BTC and Ethereum too. And again, I'm not going to be looking to trade these guys actively. It's just when that opportunity does come, I'll be there to take it. So yeah, I'll be looking to add to it. But yeah, haven't taken a position yet in US 30. And yeah, not planning to at the moment. It's not looking quite there yet. But yeah, it looks like dollar is looking pretty weak, has looking pretty strong right now. I think yen might be a little bit weak as well. Nah, it's a little bit strong actually. I think just NZD was a bit strong. But yeah, in terms of my watch list, again, silver's at the top. May have missed that boat there with silver. And gold looks like they both probably will move in sync together. I've been keeping a close eye on dollar CHF as well. Waiting for this one to pull back to keep shorting, but looks like I kind of just stuck in this range here. And possibly with the USD weakness, we might push back into support potentially. But this one's been very, very sideways as well. I was looking at some areas, the 4-hour chart, looking at some areas around here, 0.92, and even the low here, 0.98 for some shorts if we can have a much bigger pullback. Again, I'm still banking on USD seeing that bigger pullback, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe we don't get that bigger pullback. But again, I'm not going to try and force anything if nothing's there for me to take a trade or it's not quite there. From my experience anyway, it's always best to not take an okay trade and wait for the better one to come and take the okay position. But yeah, with USD, it looks like we are seeing some weakness. So I suppose we're going to be seeing some upside for the indices. Bitcoin as well, looking a tad bullish right now as well. That could push too. I'm looking for Bitcoin to sell back into 73, 72K, which is the high here. Again, I would like Bitcoin to be trading around the 90K mark before I would look to short that, which is 90K, 91K, roughly this area here anyway, before looking for a sell. I think there's a lot of downside to be had for Bitcoin. Again, the way it's moving is so corrective. The fact that we haven't really recovered sharpish is a sign that the market is likely to keep dropping. And especially if we can return into key resistance, that'll be a great place for a short. And equally, I think this will be a nice place for a buy as well. Massive resistance, price broke through with a lot of momentum. Never had the retest of that area. I would expect when we do have the retest, naturally we'll see a bit of a bounce. I'm not too sure if we'll push all the way back to the all-time highs. I'm not quite convinced there yet. Maybe as we get more information, maybe I might change my mind. But I would be looking at a bit more of just a bounce or recovery for us to potentially even sell off deeper than that for Bitcoin. But still, something like that would be a worthwhile trade to look into as well. So, yeah, Bitcoin, I feel like there's opportunities on both sides of the market right now. But yeah, in terms of the shorts, 91, 92K. In terms of the longs, 73, 74. Ethereum just a bit of a mess right now. This one is trading below some very key areas on the weekly chart. With a lovely trend line connecting the dots here, keeping price bullish. And we came into a lovely level of support as well. But unfortunately, price has actually broken through that. And at the moment, we're trading below it. So if we maintain that as resistance, that could potentially start a pretty big sell for Ethereum and potentially come back into the 1.5, maybe 1K price point, which is pretty big for Ethereum because we were so close to reaching 5K and now price is at 1K. It's a huge decrease. So yeah, I would be a little bit careful of that. But yeah, with BTC, Ethereum, I do feel like there's another drop to be had for both of them. Lighten, I like you repeat, not forcing trades. That's a good way to give back profits to the market. Yep, that's one way of giving profit back to the market. It's a skill to sit on your hands sometimes. Oh yeah, 100%. It's a very important skill to sit in your hands, especially where trading, it kind of feels like sitting in your hands is like being lazy or not putting any work or any effort in. Because you feel like if you want to be productive, you need to place a trade. You need to be doing something, managing a trade, actually placing a trade. That's how you kind of, move forward in trading, which is true, but you can definitely move backwards by doing the same thing as well. So stopping yourself moving the opposite direction, doing nothing is a great way about it as well. And then, especially when you've been trading for a while, at least kind of like I'd say a year to 2 years, especially if you've been focusing on one thing as well. If you've kind of been shopping around, then maybe not. But if you've been focusing on one thing for at least a year or two, you probably have a really good idea of what a good trade looks like based on your rules and based on your plan. So the only difference is between profitability and not being profitable is the trades you take in between the good ones. So you might take a really good trade and you take 5 kind of okay trades, maybe a couple horrendous trades just because you got bored. And then you take another good trade. But then in between that, you take another 5, 6 kind of rubbish or okay trades. And those 5, 6 okay trades or rubbish trades is what's going to be messing with your equity curve and your profitability as a whole. So if you could just not take those okay rubbish trades and just focus on the good ones, you'd be so much better off for it. And that, of course, relies on sitting on your hands a little bit. So yeah, I 100% agree with that. It's a difficult skill to learn because it feels like you're being counterproductive, but you're actually being productive in a way. Anton, I'm not sure what you mean there. ETH, modern crypto, BTC, or before. I'm not too sure what that means. What's up, Tony Gold? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. You're saying Ethereum is the Bitcoin of before. Isn't Bitcoin just the Bitcoin of before? Yeah, you're talking in tongues again, my man. I mean, I like Ethereum in terms of the potential for upside. I think there's a lot of value there, especially if you push to 1K. I think 1K is just a great price to be at. Not in terms of the price action. Price action is horrendous. I'm just talking about the risk profile here. 1K to 5K, 5x your money there if it does happen. I think it's a pretty realistic expectation, to be honest, especially if Bitcoin has that longer term expectation it will push through. I think Ethereum will eventually follow suit as well. Oh, okay. So you're saying ETH of 2015 is the Bitcoin of 2008? Yeah, I'm still not too sure what that means. Anyway, let me go through some of the crosses, and I'll go through some of the CAD pairs as well because I'm still pretty interested in New Zealand CAD short. That's another pair on my watch list. But it looks like the crosses might be looking to retrace pretty soonish. We topped out around here for Euro Aussie. We held on to resistance and we had a pretty nice sell because of it. If I look at Euro NZD, that one hasn't seen as much downside. I feel like maybe NZD is a lot weaker than Aussie, even though Aussie and NZD have both been very weak. But looks like NZD has been a lot weaker, which is why it hasn't really moved as much. But I do think Euro NZD is going to probably see a similar move, to be honest. If I go to the daily chart, I'm expecting us to at least come back and retest the high here. So I'm still seeing more downside based than that. On the daily chart, you can see a lot of wicks here as well. So it looks like price is having a lot of trouble trying to push to the upside, especially like yesterday's candle. Very nice doji, wick to the upside, pierced the highs there, pull back, and close with a small body to the upside as well. So altogether, resistance here is holding pretty well. I do think we're likely going to drop and see that continuation in the next 2 or 3 days. So yeah, it's looking pretty bearish. It's just we're not really testing any significant area, but I would expect us to see a bit of a drop there for Euro NZD. Pound NZD, I'm expecting that retracement, but I would like price to kind of push up first before we retrace. So push back into 2.27 before we do retrace, because we already had a retracement over here, 2 bearish days. Price pretty much retesting that level there. So I do want price to push up first before looking to sell. I still do have zones which I'm liking for the longs, which is down here. So if we do sell off, great. It might speed up the opportunity for me to get a buy there on pound NZD. But in terms of shorting, I would wait for us to push back to the high. I think pound Aussie was already at the high. Yeah, this one's already bleeding from the high there. So that one's coming from a nice place too. I think this one just missed the retest here as well. So I do think pound Aussie is due a bit of a pullback as well. Nice little double top there. But yeah, something like that looks like it's on the cards as well. So yeah, with pound Aussie, I do favor a bit of a pullback to pound NZD. I'd rather that one makes a push up first before a pullback does happen. I mean, overall, they are still very bullish markets, so the trend is still up, but we might be seeing a bit of a counter trend move there. Trade frequency on a really good week might press the button 2-3 times. Sometimes I won't press it for weeks. Some I see smashing the button daily 2-3 times. Trade frequency support, very, very true. Trade frequency is definitely something that a lot of people do forget about. Trade frequency is very, very important as well. Some weeks, like you say, you will get a lot of opportunities, and some weeks you won't. The market is something you want to react to. No one. The job description of a trader is not to predict the market; it's to trade the market. And a lot of people get confused between the two. And to trade the market is to react to the market. Is there a good opportunity? No, there isn't. Okay, there's one now, so now I'm going to take a buy, or now I'm going to take a sell. And of course, some weeks there'll just be a lot of good opportunities and it'll fit your criteria a lot. You take advantage of that. And in other weeks, there just wouldn't be. I think if you start to experience your trading, starts to kind of mimic that in terms of some weeks you're trading a lot, some weeks you're not. I think that's when you start to kind of realize um, you start to mature as a trader and start to actually um, follow a plan, because you get some people who every single week would be taking 5 trades every week, one trade a day or 2 trades a day or whatever. And for a fact, I know that their strategy will only perform in certain conditions. So if you're always taking a trade a day or always taking 2 trades a day, that means you will be taking positions when it's not optimal for your strategy, whatever way you trade. There will be times where it's just not optimal. And if you're still taking trades during that point, it's going to slow your growth as a trader quite a lot. So if you find yourself taking trades in some weeks and some weeks you're not, or some days you are, some days you're not, that means you're kind of maneuvering and finding the right time to trade, which is a skill in itself, really. So yeah, trade frequency is very important as well. Yes, pound CHF we'll take a look at, no problem. Anton, you trading Aussie yen? Yeah, always taught trade what you see, not what you want to see. Yeah, that's a big one as well. That is a big one, because if you have it in your mind that a market is bearish or a market is bullish, you would then by default look for everything that does confirm that bias and ignore everything that doesn't. And that is a dangerous place to be in, because yeah, you're just kind of trading your beliefs at that point, which is not what we're trading. But yeah, very, very true. Let me have a look at pound C. I'll go through the CHF pairs. At some point, I was going to go for the CAD pairs first. But yeah, pound CHF, not a big fan of this market. It has been absolutely horrendous for a while. Very corrective behavior, wicks all over the place, no momentum at all. So it has not been appealing to trade. At the moment, looks like resistance is holding a support, and perhaps we could see another continuation back to the high. But look how corrective this bullish move has been. Insane corrective move there. So I'm not so enthusiastic about the buy. I think it's a nice place for an entry, but I'll only be looking to try and catch something like that and then call it a day. I don't want to be sitting in a market with conditions like this for a long period of time, because the longer I'm in this, the longer I'm going to be caught in a weird choppy behavior, and I'll get wicked out break even, or maybe even wicked for a loss as well. If you can kind of try and catch a bounce for the low there back into resistance, I feel like that's a nice trade, especially if you can drop to the lower time frames and refine that entry. But altogether, it is a very choppy pair right now. I like there to be momentum when I'm trading. So the more choppy a pair is, the more likely I am to stay away from it. And pound CGF is a very choppy pair right now. But yeah, since we're holding resistance pretty well, it does look like we'll probably see it eventually swing to the high. Because we're having such a tough time trying to break resistance there, probably wouldn't look to target that swing high outright, just because there's so much obstacles in our way that we have to kind of break through first before we can get that as a target. So something like that, just trading the range low to the range high makes sense there for pound CHF. I'll go through the CAD pairs because I'm really liking New Zealand CAD for a sell. Okay, so you're saying Aussie yen, you perform better than New Zealand yen. I mean, for me, Aussie yen, very similar results in terms of the yen pairs. Actually, pound yen performs a bit better for me out of the yen pairs, but all the other yen pairs kind of have similar success on them. Which pair? Oh yeah, New Zealand CAD. So yeah, New Zealand CAD. I'm liking the sell for this one. I'm going to keep a very close eye. I really like the weekly candle I closed last week, and basically for New Zealand CAD, I'm looking for a push back into support down here, which is at 0.795. I'm looking for a swing right back into this area. A lovely break of structure a few weeks back, and the plan has always been I'm looking for the continuation of that bearish move, retest the high, and then there's your swing. Nice week yesterday, not yesterday, sorry, last week. And the plan for NZD-CAD was if we can make it back below the high here. I've actually got two ideas I'm looking at. I'm also looking to see if we can come back and test resistance there. So I'm either looking at price making its way back into resistance and see if I can catch some type of double top, or price breaks a little bit further to the downside and I look for the retest on this level here. So capitalizing on that level there, and then looking for a short, looking to swing it back into lows. But yeah, I'm very bearish on pound NZ on NZD CAD since that break of structure. It's been very, very corrective, so I have to be careful with how I position myself, which is why I'm waiting for these big levels so I can find some entries. I may not look to swing it all the way back down to these targets here. That's kind of my longer term swing bias. I may be out of the trade before that. Depends how we set up and everything and how momentum's looking at the time. But those are the levels I'm interested in shorting, and looking to take New Zealand CAD back down. Of course, Aussie CAD, I'm looking at a very similar bias as well for both of them. I think we're going to probably see some CAD strength in the next few days as well, because I think we're going to, I mean, we've already seen a bit of CAD strength. CAD's been so weak, so I feel like it's having a bit of a relief. But I feel like we'll probably see a lot more of that as well. But yeah, New Zealand CAD, I'm liking that to the downside. Of course, Euro CAD and Pound CAD, I'm just expecting retracement for them. I'm not really looking to trade them. To be honest, Euro CAD, I'm looking for a push back into resistance here at 1.52. Pound CAD, I'm looking for retracement back into this level here at 1.81. We're very, very far away from that, so that might take a while. And looking at the lower time frames, you're still pretty corrective. So I wonder, is this just a correction for price to keep pushing up? Or are we kind of going to bleed down? I've got a feeling like this may be the likely move. It might form a really nice double top though. So it might present some really nice shorts soonish. Something like that. And take the short there. Again, not really trading I'm after. I'm just looking for the pullback. I'm more concerned with the buys when we get here to take it back up. And same thing for EuroCAD as well. From 1.52. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the CAD pairs. Expecting downside, looking for some CAD strength. In terms of the CHF pairs, I look at pound CHF, very corrective behavior. Euro Swiss, for this one, I'm looking to see what we can do in the retest of the high here. We had a lovely retest not long ago, but we might be looking at part two which might give us another bounce. I like how corrective price is moving, depending how we react there. I feel like that would be a nice trade to look at for a buy and take that back into resistance there as well, which is 0.966. So keeping a close eye on that as well for Euro CHF. In terms of Aussie CHF, of course, I'm just shorting that one, so I'm just going to see how we develop. Really, I'm just in manage mode right now. Not a lot for me to do. Trading stop losses above the high there. I was hoping I can move it to here, but we need to at least push back into support first. We haven't done that at the moment, so possibly we might be coming back for another retest. I may even look for more entries for the trade. The only why I haven't really been looking for entries is because we're a little bit low down and we haven't really had much of a pullback. So I like it when when the market's quite stretched and a pullback, and then I take the top of it, sort of like this position here. The market had a really nice corrective pullback. It became quite stretched, and I managed to catch the top there. So I like it when in that kind of situation. At the moment, not really. Yeah, so I'll see how we maneuver. New Zealand CHF, I'm pretty bearish on this one as well, looking for a push back into the swing low. But again, with this one, it's just not optimal. We're very, very corrective on the way down. I'm not liking how we've kind of pulled back. We formed a bit of a double bottom here. We shot to the upside and even broke structure whilst we did that as well. And I wonder, is price coming back to retest this area for a higher low and possibly a move up? Is this like a corrective move? And are we possibly bottoming out here? That is something I am concerned with. I'm not really looking to take any buys on New Zealand CHF, but I definitely wouldn't be looking to take any sells though, especially with that in play. So I have to watch out for that. And of course, CAD CHF, we're at all-time lows. So for this one, I'm just expecting upside. Because every time this one creates new all-time lows, it just rallies. It's been a bit of a corrective one, but I expect us to really push up pretty soon. So you can see these are the prior all-time lows. We kind of just about wicked through that. There we go, just about wicked through. As we can see, if I zoom out, you can see every time the market does pierce the low, it just pulls back, pulls back, pulls back, pulls back. So again, expect another pullback. So definitely not the best time to be looking to short CAD CHF at all. And I do think we'll see a bit of a rally. So I wouldn't be looking to try and short here. I know it's a pretty nice level on the daily chart, respected many times as support. But because we're just coming from all-time lows, it means I would actually expect this to break rather than hold. Not every support and resistance level is worth shorting or buying from. Again, context is such a big thing. If this was a different context, then that would be a nice level to trade from, but not when price just made an all-time low there. Again, it could still hold, but because of that fact, I wouldn't take the position. So CAD CHF, I do expect a bit of a bounce. So it looks like CHF pairs might rally a little bit. Maybe CHF might become a bit weak. Yen's a bit weak as well. Sometimes they do correlate. So maybe that might happen. And of course, you got lovely dollar CHF and Swiss yen. Dollar CHF, I am looking for a bit of a push to the upside here, but we'll see what USD does. It has come back into a nice little level on the left. Back into this massive swing low here, kind of dancing on that level there. I do feel like we can see some upside. And if I go over to Swiss yen, this one, I am very bearish on CHFJ, who I am just not quite ready to short it yet. As I mentioned earlier, looking for us to at least get to 171.5. If I whip out the fib, 0.618 is kind of where I'm looking to take a trade from. We had a nice, we had a nice consolidation here. We broke to the upside pretty well. Successful retest here, strong close. I know we're stuck in some resistance right now, but I do think we'll probably rally through that. We might kind of correct ourselves, but still do see more upside. Matt can see CHF going bearish this year, following the negative interest rate narrative. I think the safe haven appeal is fading as well, unless something happens. Dollar CHF is the only one I want. Nice carry trade. True. That is true as well. Yeah, that is a good point as well. So yeah, I feel like I could probably see that happening too. I can see that happening too. The way things are situating with a lot of the CHF pairs, it does look like CHF might be bearish, and we have a bit of a pullback. Yeah, I can see that happening as well, and just from the price action as well. And yeah, I think dollar CHF does look like a nice buy. It depends what USD does, because USD will have its say as well. I think the dollar is finding support pretty well. And if we can continue that, I do think the dollar can still rally. I'm still under the impression that dollar can at least get to 105.5 before maybe we go through some type of continuation. So yeah, I do think dollar can see some upside, and especially if CHF sees some weakness now, could actually be a decent time to think about buying dollar CHF, possibly on a nice breakout, something like that. That could be a nice little buy. Might be an awkward place for a stop loss though, because you don't really want your stop loss all the way down here. I mean, it would be a safe place, but it means that your risk is going to be heavily skewed, and you're going to need quite a lot of movement just to make even 1R. But if you could refine that somehow, somewhere, it could be a nice little position to look at. So yeah, I do agree with that as well. I do agree with that as well. But yeah, we'll see what happens with dollar. It looks like dollar has found support, so I do think some strength is coming. I know we've had a big rejection this morning, but I just don't think it's going to last too long before we do push up. I think we'll still see a bit more downside, but as we approach 103.8, that's kind of where I think some buyers can come back into the market and see some upside. It's a really strong double bottom there, and it's difficult for me to see price breaking through that. So USD, I do think some strength could come into play maybe for the next few days. Let's see what we can do around 105.5. Again, as we print new candles, new information will come around. I may switch my bias up, but for now, I'm still expecting a little bit more strength there. Yen pairs, looking at the JPY basket, that's still looking pretty bearish to me. So I think we can still likely to fall back into at least 6,500, 6,550, which is kind of this zone here. It's kind of where I'm expecting price to get to there. So looking for a bit more JPY weakness, looking for a bit more USD strength, and potentially some CHF weakness as well, and a bit of CAD strength as well. But we'll see about that. But in terms of my watch list, yeah, silver's at the top of that, but I'll keep an eye on silver. Maybe we do pull back. Maybe if dollar is strong, not going to rule it out. If dollar is strong, it might help silver come back a little bit deeper. I'm not too sure it will though, but we'll wait and see. And then out of the yen pairs, I'm kind of just waiting to see what euro yen can do. This is the one I did short last week, but then I closed the trade at break even. I'll see if I can get it back into resistance, then maybe look for some re-entries to try and take it back down again. But at the moment, it's still looking pretty bullish. And I do think we'll probably push on a little bit there too. So I'll be a bit careful there of euro yen. But I am waiting for some shorts on this one. Waiting for some longs in silver. And some shorts on New Zealand CAD. I like New Zealand, and shorts on the NZD/USD as well. Yeah, I'll see what we can do around 0.578. And for NZD CAD, I'll see what we can do at the double top or the retest of that level. I want to see a bit bigger of a breakout though, so I probably won't look at that yet. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with my personal kind of outlook in the market, what I'm looking to trade. And we have come up to the end of the stream, folks. So I will be live again tomorrow. And of course, we'll go through the market again, see what's happening. New information will be available. We'll see what we're looking at, see what USD did, whether we continue that weakness or not. If I do get any other positions, I'll let you know, whether in the Discord or the Telegram. So look out for that. But like I said, we'll be live again tomorrow, same time as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. I do appreciate each and every one of you joining me in the stream, chatting with myself, liking the stream. If you haven't liked it, please be sure to do so. It does really help out. I do appreciate that. And of course, subscribe to the channel as well if you are enjoying the content and finding it useful. And make sure you hit the bell too so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads. But guys, really appreciate really appreciate you joining the stream today. Check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel. The link to that is in the description below. You can chat with other traders, chat with myself, share ideas. I share ideas there too. So if you're looking to join, make sure you check it out. But guys, appreciate you tuning in. Take care, and I will see you in the next one.